Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. It's
Lemos.
time!
Well, hello there, Internet. You already know who it is. It's your boy A1. And this is It's Almost Time. With me tonight, if you didn't know, obviously, Cornbread is not with us the whole month of July. He's got some other obligation that he is tending to. So on the co-pilot button, co-host panel, whatever you want to call it, we got Paul Wilby, the resident hater.
Let's go.
Full disclosure, Paul's been extra haterish these past couple weeks. So much hate that he hadn't even watched the fights, but we still
Dude,
gonna
I think my internet provider knows when I'm fucking streaming from a sketchy site, and they literally they make it not work, because if I watch on my phone data, it works, but then as soon as I turn on my Wi-Fi, it stops working.
I said, hey, you can't do that.
Right? They know, dude. If I would do that, that's what they would do, but I would never do that.
Oh, see, yeah, if I would do that, they wouldn't even know. And I get really sketchy streams sometimes where I have to reload them or pick a different one. I can always tell when I have been streaming, not legally. I don't even want to say illegally, but oh well. When I have been streaming in the past, I noticed especially big main events or main cards, like with a big name draw, it'll work just fine until I get to the main event, and then the site bogs down because everybody's trying to jump on to watch. And I'm like, no, don't be a bitch. If you're gonna watch, you watch them all. Don't just hop in there at the last fight and fuck up my stream.
Right? Posers.
Yeah. Yep.
Me sitting here calling people posers as I'm doing an MMA podcast and I haven't seen any fights in 2 weeks.
Hey, and your record there in the you're 11-6. You're a few weeks behind on that, but
Yeah, I know.
I guess that's a good transition point to jump in. We're doing a UFC Fight Night Live double review tonight because we were lazy and didn't go on last weekend. I was actually going to talk to the co-hosts of this pod. We might tone it back just a little bit, what I was thinking anyways, and I was going to talk to you about this off air, but fuck it. We'll let the fans know. We'll let the tens of people that watch this know that what I was thinking anyways is basically, just because I know life happens, we all got some stuff going on. What we might do for the time being until we up the subscriber rate a little bit more is just go on a week before and the Sunday after pay-per-views.
Okay.
That way it'll give us more to talk about in the pods that we do. But then also, yeah, we are covering the main stuff, the cream of the crop, so to speak, as far as events go. At least for the time being. I'm going to have a busy couple months coming up. I won't allude to as why, but once I get settled in, I'm cool to go back to whatever. I know you be working a lot over there too and hating not watching fights lately, so yeah. We'll tinker with it a little bit, but we'll definitely still be bringing you some of our reactions and the outcomes to these fight nights and pay-per-views especially. We'll still cover everything. It'll just be a more condensed version, maybe once or twice, maybe 4 times a month, depending on how many pay-per-views we end up running. But 2 weekends ago, this is where we're going to start out because it was UFC Fight Night Live or UFC on ESPN number 59, Rose Namajunas versus Tracy Cortez. Originally, this was supposed to be Namajunas versus Macy Barber, but Barber had to pull out. I heard it was due to illness or something like that. But then the bitch was there watching the fights live. Kind of pissed me off. But who am I? I'm just a guy on the couch that likes to watch fights. But yeah, we'll get into it. We'll just run it front to back. I guess I'll probably be carrying some of this load because I did see him. Full disclosure, though, I was half haterish last weekend. Well, not even. I was on my way back from dropping my daughter off up north, and so I was on the road for the prelims. But made it back in time. Actually, I think for the final prelim, and then all of the main card. We'll still touch over everything that happened. I got my handy dandy Sherdog cheat sheet. Kicking off last weekend, or not last weekend. Yeah, last weekend's because yeah, but it was technically 2 episodes ago. It should have been. Kicking off the UFC Fight Night Denver at the Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado, was Evan Elder versus Darius Flowers. This ended in a second round submission arm triangle choke. Evan Elders got the dub.
Bro, Flowers has a fucking Gracie Baja Jiu-Jitsu tattoo on his chest and he got tapped out. That's embarrassing.
Man, that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. How you gonna have jiu-jitsu stuff tattooed on you and then tattoo jiu-jitsu? Ooh, you see what I did there? Tattoo,
I did.
tattoo. Yeah,
I
that
liked
was
it.
completely unintentional, but I'll take it.
That's a bar, dude.
Yeah, that's yes, I agree. Next up on last weekend's card, there was Andre Petrosky versus Josh Fume. Some of these names, man, I swear to God, and then I sound like a casual because I can't say them right. Petrosky won a unanimous decision victory, so back to his winning ways. I want to say Petrosky had dropped 2 in a row prior to that. The last one that Petrosky had lost, he knocked himself out. He gave himself a concussion trying to go in for a takedown and knocked his head off a dude's pelvis.
I forgot about that. I think I was watching that.
Shit was one of the weirdest knockouts I've ever seen, and I've been watching this shit for basically the 30 years it's been doing its thing. Next up we had was Luana.
Were you watching live when that girl shit her pants and got it on the all over the ring?
What?
Have you not seen that?
I've seen that. I don't know if I've seen the girl do it, but I know I watched a dude get the squirts and was like trailing some brown stuff behind him.
Yeah, there's a I don't remember who it was, but there's a chick fight where a girl shat her pants.
Man, that might have unlocked somebody's new fetish. There's already scat porn. I'm sure there's fight porn.
Shit, bro. 2 Girls, 1 Cup goes way back.
It goes back further than I'd like to admit, man. And we all know what it is. So what does that say about us, degenerates?
Right.
Next up, though, we had Luana Santos versus Mariah Akabova. This ended actually in a first round submission, 3 minutes and 27 seconds of round 1. Luana Santos with a rear naked choke submission victory. This one I didn't see live, but I did see the highlights. This was the quickest fight of last weekend's card. You had Montel Jackson versus Damon Blackshear. This ended 18 seconds into round 1. Montel Jackson with a flash knockout over Blackshear. This was perfectly timed shot, dropped him, and there wasn't shit he was doing about it. He was done. I'm pretty sure he got a fight of the night bonus on that. And let me cross-reference with the UFC website because I usually do post that.
Performance of the night.
What's that?
It was performance of the night.
Yep, performance of the night. Next up, and I think I caught the very end of this, or like the final couple minutes of the last round, Jasmine Jasdavicius versus Fatima Klein. Jasdavicius with a unanimous decision victory. This fight actually, from what I heard anyways, was a lot closer than what the judges' scorecards say. My pop said he wouldn't have been surprised if this would have been a split decision victory. But Jasmine with the dub, so shout out Jasdavicius. I've always kind of fucked with the Canadian. I don't know why, but I've always kind of been pulling for him. Maybe it's maybe a little crush or something. I don't know, but I've always been Team Jasmine. So next up, this one was a banger of a fight. Also got performance of the night honors. Joshua Van versus Charles Johnson. Charles Johnson with a 3rd round TKO over Van, and this one actually went back and forth. Like this could have been anybody's fight. But to start out the third round, Johnson caught a really good shot, put him down. I think a little bit of ground and pound, and that's all she wrote. That was the prelims for last weekend's card. First fight of the main card was Abdul Razak Al Hassan versus Cody Brundage, and this one I do remember because Al Hassan was fucking Brundage up. Caught him with some really good shots, and I mean this was like 30 seconds or so in. Brundage shot for a takedown, which was a smart thing to do. Like I felt like Brundage's only key to victory or trying to win this fight was to get him down to the ground and use his jiu-jitsu, try to sub him. Because Al Hassan, at least his career so far in the UFC, he's only had, I think, let me double check this. Okay, no, he's kind of starting to get a little bit on a tear. He had beat DeChirico back in August of 2021. He dropped a split decision to Buckley in February of 2022. Won against Hibero in January of 2023, and then lost to Pfeiffer in October of 2024. But just styles again, like the Brundage and his style, I definitely was edging towards Al Hassan, and actually the odds makers were, I think he closed at like a minus 166 favorite. So it was still a kind of a pick 'em. It wasn't like super skewed odds, but Al Hassan did have the edge. Brundage tried to take him down, and as he was taking him down, Al Hassan started throwing some elbows and caught him. What in real time it looked like he caught him to the back of the neck or the back of the head. And he had gotten a warning, and he threw another shot, and it ended up like I think it grazed his shoulder, but to the ref it looked like he hit him again in the back of the head. Brundage is already rocked from some of the stand-up. This is why he shot the takedown so quick in the fight. He had started getting pieced up, so went for the takedown, caught them elbows, and then when the ref stopped it to kind of let Brundage recover because of the illegal shot, he was not all there. Like I don't even think he realized what had happened. I think he thought that they stopped the fight at first. And then when he figured out that they hadn't stopped the fight, he wasn't trying to continue. So he milked it up. He best supporting actor. Kind of took some I guess some motivation from Aljamain Sterling and then how to sell a bad shot. And actually, and again, I'm talking shit because Aljamain did take a fucking hard knee to the head. I don't think enough so that he couldn't have continued, but I think he knew he was down, and it was just going to be more of the same if he would have kept going against Jan. That he took the easy way out and got the DQ win. This, however, all this happened within the first 37 seconds of the fight, so they officially ruled Al Hassan and Brundage in no contest. But we all know what was happening here. Al Hassan was piecing him up, already had him hurt before the supposed illegal shots. Brundage didn't want no more, and they stopped it. This actually was one of the this next fight was one of the first of our 3 parlay picks for the evening. This was Mr. Breddington's pick.
Parlay boys.
And he had picked Christian Rodriguez, making his featherweight debut against Julian Erosa. And actually, Rodriguez had closed at, I think, like a minus 200 favorite in this fight. So they thought he was going to win, and it didn't quite turn out that way. Julian Erosa weathered some of the storm. I think, but Rodriguez was piecing him a little bit, but Erosa was giving it back. They ended up going down, and one thing I've given Christian Rodriguez a lot of credit for is he's always fared pretty well on the ground against ground guys, like at least had just enough defense to not get submitted, get himself out of the spots, and get himself back to a better position to fight. Didn't happen against Julian Erosa, and this is actually one of the few guillotine chokes that I've ever seen sank in, where the dude literally didn't have the angle, but Erosa was so much more lanky and like longer compared to Rodriguez. He was able to sit up, grab his neck, and pull him back down, had him in his guard, and Rodriguez wasn't going nowhere. So yeah, first round guillotine submission for Juliana Rosa, and I was kind of stoked. I was like, oh shit, okay, like not. Why? Actually, I'm not even gonna lie. Yes, I was rooting against Cornbread's pick because we need a catch up.
Right.
So I was like, all right, Rodriguez dropped it. This gives us a chance to pull within 2 of the leader. Let's fucking go.
Yes.
Fight after that was Gabriel Bonfim versus Angel Losa. This was a scrap of a fight. That first round, actually, Losa had a really good round, some good pressure, some good takedowns, and some good control. But as the fight went on, this was at altitude too, keep in mind. So you will see fighters starting to kind of tire out and their gas tank goes. Round 2, Bonfim was able to stuff the takedowns and work his technique, started to outpoint him. And it was more of that in the third round. Actually, the second round, Losa was trying for some takedowns, just wasn't able to get anything done. And same in the third round, Bonfim dictated where the fight was happening, the pace. Losa didn't really know what to do. I will give Losa a lot of credit, though, for even with him gassing or kind of not having the same kind of pressure that he had in that first round. He was eating some fucking shots that the last 2 rounds, like, was getting pieced up and was eating them, though. Wasn't stumbling, wasn't falling, wasn't giving up. Like, this dude's got that dog in him. So nothing but respect. I know you lost, Losa, but you got my respect as a fan because you could take a punishment and keep on ticking. It just wasn't his night win-loss wise. This was the second of the 2 parlays, or the 3 parlays.
Parlay boys.
And this was your pick, I believe.
Yep.
Drew Dober versus Gene Silva. Gene Silva had actually been on the fight card 2 weeks prior. He had fought at UFC 303 at I think at featherweight. And then fought this week, that's last weekend at lightweight. Fought Dober. And there was some moments. Dober had some moments, but this was Silva's fight. Silva, it's again not knocking anybody that's on the UFC roster, but you know that there's just some fighters that just really put that extra oomph into their shit. Like they're constantly going for it. I'm talking like Peyton Talbot. Just guys that whatever they're doing it 100%. They're not worried. They're not trying to stretch it out. They've got the cardio to where they can give it basically their all and keep on going. And Silva, I feel like is one of those fighters. He's just got that extra sting on his punches. Looked really good against Dober, and Dober had his moments. There were some moments where Dober was piecing him up. They were both busted up, but it really broke down to, I think it was, third round TKO doctor stoppage. Dober, I think, ate a fucking elbow to his head, and literally his whole eyebrow was frowning.
I saw some pictures of the aftermath. It was gnarly.
Yeah, bro, it was. And credit to Dober, though, because he kept going. He wasn't trying to have the shit stopped. He was still swinging. It was just the way that shit looked. There's no way the doctor could not have stopped it. It was bad. But yeah, Gene Silva picking up back-to-back wins in a 3-week period. Never a bad thing. Little mini Hamzat over here, except for he actually fights.
Right.
Co-main event of the evening. And then I got really excited. I was actually pulling for Dober, but when Silva won, I was like, oh, bro, I got a chance to pull into second and to within 2 of motherfucking Cornbread for the it's almost time 3-way parlay championship belt. Let's fucking go. I had Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Muslim Salikov in the third leg of our 3-way parlay.
Parlay boys.
And man, I think this is actually one of the heavier favorites to win was Ponzinibbio. But Salikov said, fuck that. I'm going to get me some, and literally brought it to Ponzinibbio for 3 fucking rounds. There are some moments Ponzinibbio had where it looked like he was going to turn the tide or get the momentum going in his favor. It just never quite happened. And when we got to the end of that fight, man, and I knew it. I knew before the judges even called it. I said, they're giving this to Salikov. And I can't even be mad about it because this motherfucker did not show up. Muslim Salikov, unanimous decision victory over Santiago Ponzinibbio. So, to recap, let me see here. I know I fucking set this. Where'd it go? Oh, okay, there it is. Yeah. So to recap, UFC Fight Night Live Denver bust. 0 of 3 parlay picks hit last weekend. So even for as much as we know about fights, it just doesn't always pay to know everything. And let's hear it. Come on, let's hear it.
Womp womp.
Yeah, talk about a big bust. Usually we like even when we don't hit them perfect, we usually hit one, if not on average, at least 2 out of our 3 parlay picks hit. Cornbread usually right as rain, and it wasn't in the cards last week. And man, the MMA god said, "Hey, no, y'all ain't getting this one." Main event of the night, though, again, was Rose Namajunas versus Tracy Cortez. Cortez was, I think, like a 2-week short notice because Barber had to pull out. But Cortez was actually scheduled to fight yesterday. She was supposed to fight Miranda Maverick. And so, yeah, when she pulled out, they found a replacement for Maverick. But Rose and Tracy, we all know Rose is a thug, hence the name Thug Rose. And Tracy Cortez got that dog in her too. And it was not Cortez's night by any means. I want to say it was final rung of it was, I think, like 4-1, if not a 5-0 victory for Rose Namajunas. Got past Tracy Cortez, and at one point caught her with a nice right hook. Knocked this bitch's eyelash off mid-fight. You could see it flying. I'm gonna have to find the clip and send it into the group chat because I ain't never seen a bitch lose an eyelash in an MMA fight. At least not in the UFC.
Yeah, you shouldn't be allowed to have fake lashes in the cage, honestly. I mean, I don't know.
It kind of upset me. Well, and then the lead up to this fight, I kind of knew that Tracy was going to be in for a long night because the night before they were weighing in, and Cortez was like right borderline. I think like 136.5 or something, like, or 116 or 126 or something like that. Whatever because they fight at flyweight. That's 115. I think Cortez was hitting like 116 and a half. Came back and still had that half that she had to lose. So she stepped off the scale, went up to her room, and cut about 8 inches of her hair off. She didn't quite pull a Rose Namajunas and shaved it, but she had some long hair and cut that shit in half. Made weight at 116, and then it's funny, dude. I forget how many casual MMA fans there are. Because there was a picture of Cortez weighing in, holding her strand of hair.
I gave up on trying to explain that to people, dude.
Oh, so you saw it too?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. People are like, well, why is she holding her? Why did she cut her hair to make weight and then holding her hair while making weight?
Ceremonial weigh-in.
Thank you. And let me just educate y'all because I ain't trying to hate. I understand you don't understand the sport as well as others. You might not have been watching as long, or you might not understand how the weigh-ins work. They have an official weigh-in that's usually earlier in the morning. They have, I think it's usually like a 12 p.m. deadline the day before the fight that you have to make weight. There's a 3-hour window. They start weighing in, I think, at like 9 a.m. and it goes until noon. So you've got a 3-hour window. You can go up to the scale. If you need to drop some more weight, you can go back, start cutting. And as long as you weigh in by the deadline and you make weight, then you make weight. They gotten that out of the way. So this picture that was floating around of Cortez holding her hair on the scale was the ceremonial weigh-ins. They do this basically about 24 hours before the fight card starts.
What I do want to know is, did she cut off the hair and then save it the whole time so she could hold it on the ceremonial?
Oh, I'm sure she did. Kind of a statement like, hey, look, I got this bad bitch hair that I had to cut off, but I'm a bad bitch. So look at it. Here it is. And I made weight. I'm going to do everything for the sport. I like it. I like what she did. I can't even be mad about that. But I knew when she was having trouble making weight, I said this can be a long night for her. Rose trains and lives in Colorado, so she's already acclimated to the elevation. Cortez, I think, fights out of Nevada or maybe Arizona. It's one of the two. And yeah, you're kind of down close towards sea level, so that you got more air, more oxygen in the air. It's easier to keep your breath. Whereas you go up to altitude, there's not as much oxygen in the air, so you get winded a little bit quicker. This is why anytime they fight in Utah and they fight in Colorado, you got to check at who's closer to being hometown or who's used to training at elevation and who's not, because a lot of times it will play in to the outcomes of the fight. There were, I think, a couple fights actually, like the Gene Silva and Drew Dober. Dober, I think, trains in Colorado himself, but Gene Silva just got that dog in him. Anyways, main event, I mean, it was okay. It was like I was a little upset by the end of it because I felt like Rose wasn't trying to win the fight the last couple rounds. She was just preserving her win or trying not to lose. She knew she had enough in the bank that she didn't have to push it. At one point in the fifth round, actually, Cortez pulled the Max Holloway and said, "Hey, right here," and then Rose hit her with the Diaz. I went like that. So, unanimous decision victory for Rose Namajunas over Tracy Cortez. Rose is talking about she wants a title shot, and her notoriety and what she's done in the sport and other divisions. She'll probably get it. Do I think she deserves it after that performance? Not so much so. And I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm just being realistic. Like that. I've seen way better fights. I've seen way better fights from Tracy. I've seen way better fights from Rose. That was not an impressive performance in my GSP voice. I was not.
I was not impressed by your performance.
That's one of my favorite GSP quotes of all time, though, man.
Yep.
But yeah, no, she got the unanimous decision victory. So shout out to her for that. But as far as everything else, like again, this is a former champion and a champion beater. She beat Wei Lee twice. She beat Joanna Jędrzejczyk twice, but then also lost to Andrade.
You know, it'd be a good fight as I'm looking at the rankings for that division. Fucking Rose versus Valentina.
That would be, depending on how this that plays out too with Grasso and her, because they're running the Ultimate Fighter right now, the tough season. Team Grasso and Team Shevchenko. I haven't even watched any of it yet. I'm going to though, just because I know we're starting to get into the heat of things, and just a little over a month from now, those two will be squaring off. I don't know if they're still going to be fighting at the Sphere or not, because they already did announce some of the fights. I don't remember if I saw that one actually having been announced on the Sphere fight. So we'll see what happens. But we're jumping ahead now to UFC Fight Night Live on ESPN number 60. Amanda Lemos versus Verne Jandiroba, because I guess that's how you say it. But you gotta watch how you say it, because this is the only female fighter in the UFC I know that can keep an eye on her opponent and the clock at the same time. But no, this leading up to this card, that everybody saw the main event, and I thought it was funny how they marketed the promo picture too for this. It was just both half of their faces, and of course they picked the half of Verna's face that was looking straight, and they cut off her lazy eye. And everybody knew why that they set the poster up like this, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, everybody leading into this fight was like, "Oh, this is the least hyped fucking fight night I've seen in some time, and I ain't watching this shit. This is gonna be boring. A bunch of nobodies that I don't know nothing about." And man, these are some of my favorite fucking cards. These are the cards that always fucking deliver. Are the ones you're not expecting, or the ones you thinking are going to be a bust. They end up being some of the best fights that you will see. And I was fortunate enough that I was settled in after doing some of my adult things yesterday, that I had a chance to catch up on these fights. I watched from bottom to top. And actually, hold up, let me find this, because we're starting off the night with the
Parlay Boys.
And this was a pick just in under the radar, picked yesterday, the day of the fight, but before the card had started. We all kind of put in our picks late because we weren't on air doing it. So I hollered, I said, hey, who y'all got? Mr. Resident Hater. Over here, Mr. Paul. He said, give me Thomas Peterson over Muhammad Usman.
Yeah, Usman can't fight for shit. I don't think I'd ever bet on that guy unless I knew they were giving him a fucking can.
Yep, and I agree. As much as I love Kamaru, he is not his brother. He's got some shit to learn. And I will give him some credit because even in this fight, there were some moments. He had some moments, but this fight was dictated start to finish by Peterson. Was picking his shots, was keeping him at bay with the fucking jab. The third round, I think Usman knew he was down 2 rounds to 1, so he's being a little bit more urgent, actually trying to make some stuff happen. It just wasn't happening. Unanimous decision victory for Thomas Peterson. Oh, and look at this. We get to hop right back in.
Parlay boys.
And it was this was Cornbread's pick, and he literally got this in right under the wire. Probably got this into the group about an hour before the fucking fight started. And he went with Luana Carolina over Lucy Padalova. And this fight, there were some back and forth moments, actually. Luana had me sweating a little bit myself because I was like, how are they going to score this? There was some good takedowns and some good control time by Luana, but then I think the second round, Pudilova got some good offense going, got a takedown of her own, got a little bit of some control time. Ultimately, though, the judges saw it the same way I saw it. I had a 29-28 Luana. And I actually called the scorecards. I said it's going to be 2 29-28s and 1 30-27. And it was 29-28, 29-28, and 30-27 for your one of my unanimous decision, Luana Carolina. Moving forward into the fight, we had Trey Ogden versus Loic Razabov. This was a competitive fight. Razabov, man. This dude has some bad intentions. When he's swinging at you, he's not just trying to feel out. He's not trying to score points. This motherfucker is trying to take your goddamn head off. And I got to give Ogden a lot of credit because there was several times that he got hit that a lesser dude would probably not be standing. But he ate him, was able to dictate where this fight took place for the most part. It was kind of a back and forth stand-up battle the first round, and then I think with like 20, 30 seconds left of the first round, Ogden got a takedown. Actually was able to get some good offense going too with the takedown. I think he stole that round. Round 2 was some more of the same. Razabov was again just piecing him up, and anytime this fight was standing, I gave the edge to Razabov. He was just getting the better shots. And you could tell that Ogden was feeling it when he was getting touched. But Ogden did what he was supposed to do. I think like about 2 minutes left in that round. Got a takedown, got some good control time, some good offense. Had a arm triangle submission attempt that was tight. Like, I thought this shit was done. And Razabov answered the phone, did what you're supposed to do with the submission like that, and got through it. Round 3, about a minute in, Ogden with another takedown, some more control time, and some good offense, a couple attempts at some submissions. Razabov was able to reverse him, I think, with about 30 or 40 seconds left in that round, and actually got some top control, was landing some bombs from the top, but it was a little too late. Trey Ogden, unanimous decision victory. Again, I think this was mostly 29-28 across the board. Next up was the final leg. Are you gonna go? Are you gonna go? Is it not going?
Parlay boys.
Oh, there it went. Miranda Maverick was my pick, and this had nothing to do with odds. I just fucks with Miranda, Fear of the Maverick. Had a chance to chat with her a couple times, and this chick is just down to earth, is pretty good about answering questions. She's thankful for the fans. So I'm always going to be Team Maverick for the most part. Not saying that she couldn't go against somebody in that division that I fuck with a little bit heavier, but I really want to see Maverick do good in the UFC. I think she deserves to. But she was taking on a late replacement in Dion Barboza, Brazilian fighter. Actually, I guess Maverick closed at this was the highest, or she was the biggest favor of the whole fight card at only minus 218. Most of these fights were within plus 100, minus 100 range. There was a couple pick'ems, both minus money. But yeah, Maverick was the most heavy favor out of the entire card last night. And that's, I think, another reason why this card was so good is that the odds, like just how close and how they pick these fights, this was perfect. This is how a card should be. Shouldn't have a minus 600 favorite. Should be like maybe minus 200 tops, and most of them, minus 118 to plus 150. That's when you're gonna get some banger of a fights. It makes it kind of harder to pick when you're building parlays though too, because usually, and I don't know, I feel like they skew some of these odds where they make people are more heavy favorites, so where when people are basically spamming parlays with all favorited fighters, you're gonna have one sleeper in there that shouldn't be favored like they are, and it throws a wrench in everybody's parlay. But yeah, no, Barboza made this a competitive fight. This is actually, I was worried for a round or so that Maverick wasn't gonna get it. She ended up pulling through, and again, I really what it came down to was the takedown and the control time. I'm not gonna say that she was laying and praying. She was actually being active, trying to pass, improve her position and land some shots. But Barboza is also pretty skilled on the ground too. I mean, she's from Brazil. She's got jiu-jitsu. This didn't pan out. Miranda Maverick with a unanimous decision victory over Dione Barboza. Next fight. This one, okay, yeah, I remember this one. I'm trying to read this. Yeah, Cody Gibson versus Brian Kelleher, and Gibson did his damn thing. I mean, I don't know what else I can say about it. He showed up. He did what he was supposed to do. First round submission, arm triangle choke. Basically, got him hurt, got him down, got into full mount, and I think he didn't even have to step out of guard to pull off the arm triangle choke. Like, he had it sunk in that deep. He didn't even get into side control and really start arcing or anything like that. Literally locked it in, and that was it. Jiang Lee versus Hyder Emil. This one, man, this is a fighter y'all are gonna want to put on your radar for fighters you're gonna need to know. Hyder Emil. This dude is now officially 10-0, made light work of Jiang Lee. Minute and 5 seconds in, TKO due to punches, had him out on his feet, man. And Lee's a scrapper, but just was taking way too much. And I think Emil realized the second he had him hurt, he said, "No, I ain't letting you off the hook." Started swarming him. And Lee did not take his hat off of that center post. And literally, Emil's just pop, 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 pop. It was like Rock'em Sock'em Robots, man. But yeah, unanimous decision victory. I'm pretty sure that Emil got a performance of the night. No, he didn't. Holy shit, that's kind of bogus. No, that can't be right, man. They're showing no performance of the nights on their website, which is... that's kind of weird. You dropping the ball, UFC. Let me see if I refresh it, if that helps. Nah, bro, they have none of their performance or fight of the nights listed. I guarantee you, though, Hyder Emil got a performance of the night bonus for that, because that was highlight reel shit, and he did it dominantly, man. I don't know what else to say. Like, he showed up, he showed out. Officially 10-0. And yeah, it's again Hyder Emil. Just remember the name, not like Bilal.
Remember the decision, Muhammad?
Yeah, we'll get to that. We got about 5 minutes. We start talking about that. Next up was Bill Algeo versus Duho Choi. And hold on just a second. I had my sister asking me a question. Are you home? And I said, yeah, but I'm doing a podcast. I'll call you back. But yeah, Duhu Choi versus Bill Algeo. This was a scrap of a fight to start out. Algeo was actually looking pretty decent. But anybody who's been watching for a few years, if you've seen Duho Choi fight before, you know this guy is a fucking dog, man. One of my favorite fights of all time, at least in the past 5 years, was his fight against Cub Swanson. Cub had this motherfucker rocked. Was basically looked like it was going to be done, and the dude fought through it. I don't even remember who won that fight. I just remember it was a scrap of a fucking fight. It was one of them barn burners. Constant momentum changing. Algeo was looking all right at first. That first round looked decent, and again, Choi doing what he does. He ate some to give some. Caught him in the second round, 3 minutes and 28 seconds. And oh yeah, man. I'm pretty sure he broke Algeo's orbital bone because he caught him with a nice left hook, busted him open. Algeo was bleeding, and then as they were scrapping, Algeo tried to throw a spinning back elbow or a back fist, didn't connect, and as he was backing into space, Duho Choi threw another left hook to that same right spot, caught him right there, and got him to submit due to punches.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And Laura Sanko was one of the commentators. She said usually when you see a fighter doing that, they probably broke a bone in their face, so it was probably an orbital issue. And
Last thing you need is a bone shard going through your fucking brain.
Yep, or to end up like fucking Cyborg with your whole fucking skull caved in and shit.
Yeah, that shit was crazy.
Yeah, it's injuries like that makes me happy I didn't pursue fighting, you know? Like,
Mike Perry with his fucking pancake nose.
Yep. I guess he ain't even got no cartilage all up in there. It's just all been rebuilt from like plastic or some shit. Like he can smush it all the way down and there ain't nothing in there. It's crazy. But yeah, next up was Cody Durden versus Bruno Silva. And man, Durden is one of them battle-tested fighters. He hasn't always come up on top, but you know he's in for a good fucking scrap, man. And he was putting it on Silva to start out that fight. That first round I gave to Durden. Had the better shots. I think he got a takedown. Was just doing more to score and control that fight. Second round though, man, fucking Bruno does what Bruno does, man. And again, he similar to Duho Choi, took a lot of damage to give it back and ended up getting Durden out. I don't remember what he caught him with. He caught him something standing, and when he dropped him, he swarmed him and literally just started pounding him with fucking forearms to the fucking dome. And I think it was Herb Dean was reffing this, didn't have a choice but to step in and stop it. And this is actually this fight right here finished off my personal 5-leg parlay that I had set up. I think I sent you the receipts.
Yes.
And basically what I did, I picked two different fights to start out. I had picked Luana Carolina on one and Trey Ogden on the other. So for some reason, I wasn't completely sold on Carolina. I didn't want both of my parlays to bust with that first fight. Well, it just so happened that Carolina and Ogden pulled it out. And then my remaining 4 legs on each parlay was exactly the same.
Nice.
I had Duho Choi. I had Cody Gibson, Miranda Maverick, and Bruno Silva. But the reason I built them like that, I built basically 2 identical parlays. And my logic is that if I hit 4 out of 5 on them, that I was going to cash one out. So I get some return back, even if my 5th leg busted. And now I'm kind of mad that I pulled out on one because Bruno Silva came fucking through, man, cashed out. I think I threw a 5 spot down on both, and my complete winnings for the 5 leg that I didn't cash out was $87.
Damn.
Yeah, yeah. No, best parlay hit I think this year for me for sure. And I think that's how I'm gonna start building them in the future. I'm just gonna do 2 identical ones. If I get, 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5, I'm cashing out early on one of them and letting the other one ride. That way, I'm guaranteed a little bit back.
Right.
And I think, yeah, all together with the one that I cashed out, and with that, off of $15 worth of bets, I cashed out $130 last night.
Very nice.
Yeah, decent. But don't take my advice. Don't listen to me fully, because the second you do, I'm gonna fucking have a parlay bust like we did last weekend where none of them hit, and then I'm gonna look really stupid. So
Yeah, I would never feel confident enough. Like, I mean, maybe if I was in the MMA space for a living, but like getting into the business of telling other people what they should bet on is fucking risky stuff.
well, and you get a lot of people mad at you that way, especially if you have an off
Right.
weekend and then shit doesn't hit. You got people probably looking for your address and maybe trying to get you swatted.
Who's that coach who got trouble for doing all that betting stuff? What was his name? It was like
You're
last
talking
year.
baseball, Pete Rose.
No. In UFC, there was a fucking coach who they caught him because
Oh, wasn't he disclosing like injuries or?
yes, I can't remember his name. I think he was a fighter too, but he had like a Discord server where you could like subscribe to it. There was a $50 tier and like a $500 tier. And he would just give out picks based on his insider information that he had as a coach.
And
And then one of his fighters had an injury, and a ton of money came in right before the fight.
so
An amount that was so suspicious that they had to investigate it, and then they found his ass
that's how
out.
they caught him.
I can't remember his fucking name though. It's right
No,
on the tip of
I
my tongue.
remember that. I remember you bringing this up, and I remember seeing the story about it. Like that, this was legit. And yeah, no, dude, that's how he got caught, was disclosing injuries to like somebody in his own gym or his own camp. And yeah, like basically they had some last second put options, basically like 9/11 on the airplane stocks. They all of a sudden, like a couple days before this all happened, they put a bunch of put options on the stock saying that it was going to tank, and then sure enough, it tanked. And then yeah, but this isn't as malicious. 3,000 people didn't die, so
Right.
yeah, it got a little dark there for a second. I'm sorry, folks. But yeah, no, got 3 fights left on this card, and then we'll do a quick preview. We will not have Cornbread's parlay pick for you, but we'll at least do some pickings here on this upcoming card. Next event was fight was Kanan Krashovsky versus Kurt Holloway. And I was pulling for Krashovsky on this one. I thought he was gonna have the better stand up, and it wasn't the case. Holloway definitely did more in the fight. I think had the better stand up, the better shots too. They both were busted up, but Krashovsky a little bit more than Holloway. Holloway unanimous decision victory. Co-main event, and originally it was supposed to be Dunho Park, but he pulled out the day before, I think, due to some medical issues. So this card had 5 prelim fights, and then a six fight main card. So only 11 fights altogether. But co-main event ended up being Sungwoo Choi and Steve Garcia. Choi, I think, was the winner of Asia's Road to UFC, and fought Steve Garcia. This one didn't last but 96 seconds. Garcia again just put it on him, got him out of there quick. TKO due to punches. Pretty sure that Garcia probably got himself a performance of the night for that one. Then of course we had the main event: Amanda Lemos, former title contender, versus up and coming Vienna Honda, because I guess that's how you say that. I've been saying it wrong for a long time. I thought this was going to be Verna's toughest test. at least as far as anybody that she's fought in the UFC so far. Lemos has been to the top of the mountain, had fought the champion in Zhang Wei Li. Fared okay, but it didn't come out on top. We already know because she's not the champion. Wei Li still is. But Verna weathered some diversity. That first round, actually, I think with about 30 seconds in, 40 seconds in, Verna timed a really nice takedown, got her down. But to Lemos's credit, man, she was hitting some reverses that first round, like changing the position. But where she fucked up, I think, is not disengaging from that. I mean, if you're able to reverse and get yourself to a dominant position, get out the guard, make her stand up, make her fight your fight. But she played around with her. She got through the first round. She looked decent. Second round was a little bit more Verna speed, and again the takedowns kept coming. But Lemos is no slouch. Was actually doing some decent. I think in the first round too, Lemos threatened with I think a guillotine, but it was only one arm in. She couldn't lock the other arm. Verna, being as experienced as she is with the ground game, wasn't going out like that. Cypress Hill knows. So, yeah, third round, I believe, is what this got to. No, it only made it to round 2. My bad. It was armbar submission. Honda Hoba won the match. Second round TKO, and actually probably put herself in a good spot to get a title shot. Because if you look at the top 5 of the strawweight division, I think it's Verna and only one other fighter has not fought the champion yet. Like Wei Li has basically cleared out most of the division. I think personally that I think the UFC wanted Jandiroba to win because again, Lemos has already fought. Yeah, the only 2 that have not fought Wei Li in the top 5 now is Verna and Tatiana Suarez. And Suarez actually just came back a few months ago. I think was gone for about a year. Hadn't fought. I think was working through some injuries. So yeah, Suarez and Verna are the only 2 who hasn't fought. And I know a lot of people would probably say, hey, have Verna and Suarez fight, and winner of that gets Wei Li. But personally, I'd say give Verna the shot against Wei Li. I think she's got the best chance of giving Wei Li any kind of trouble. Just how good Verna's ground game is. I know she's not the easiest. Like she's not the easiest on the eyes, but it's not what fighting's about. It's not about how fucking pretty you are. It's about fighting ability. And that's what a lot of people fail to realize. Like, yeah, I like rooting for the hotties, but I want to see some good competition. If you're good, I don't care if you fucking look like Sloth from the Goonies. Go out there and fucking fight. Like, it's a popularity contest and a beauty contest to an extent in some of these women's divisions. Some of the most popular fighters just so happen to be the best looking women in the game. And so it kind of affords them a little bias. I think they get shots that Verna's probably had to work twice as hard to get to where she's at just based off of looks alone.
Old fucking Roxanne had to do hella work.
Yeah. Dude, and again, there are certain fighters that just they don't get the handouts because they're not as pretty. And I'm not even gonna I'm not trying to call out a bunch of fighters and be like, oh, you're ugly. But no, it's just kind of how the business works. Again, if you're more attractive, you're probably easier to sell if you can talk good. I think that Verna's got 2 things that work against her. And it's the looks and it's the fact that she doesn't speak English. She probably would have had a little bit easier of a time if she could speak English. If she could actually sell her fights, people might be more excited. But again, looks aside, I think Jandiroba is next in line for Wei Li, and then let Suarez fight the winner of that. And maybe even give Suarez somebody else in the top 5. And if she passes that, give her another shot. But I think Verna was decisive enough and dominant enough in this Lemos fight to earn herself a title shot. But we'll take a quick peek ahead Next weekend is UFC 304, and we're getting a double header of rematch fights. Actually, the main and co-main events are rematches. Of course, the main event you got Leon Rocky Edwards versus Bilal. Nobody remembers the name Muhammad, or remember the decision Muhammad. I mean, there's a few ways you could twist that nickname.
I'm just glad he's finally getting his shot so he could fuck off if he loses. And
No, exactly, and exactly. And one thing I will give Bilal credit for, man. This motherfucker knows how to talk some shit. Knows how to get some people talking, because he's talking about, he's like, man, so when the first round comes out, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna rock him. And right when I'm about to put him out, I'm gonna get off of him and I'm gonna let him recover. And then I'm gonna take him down and I'm gonna look at his corner and I'm gonna be like, Coach, you better tell Leon something. You better motivate him. What, you ain't got nothing to say? And then the second round, I'm going to take him down and I'm going to get him into a submission. And then right when he's about to tap, I'm going to let go. And I'm going to look at his brother and I'm going to say, what now? What do you got to say? This dude was going in about how he's going to be shit talking his corner and this and that. And then he says, and then finally, when the third round comes, I'm just going to say, fuck it. And I'm going to finish him. I'm going to TKO him.
I want to see the odds of Bilal Muhammad by finish. I bet it's plus fucking hellas, dude.
I might have to do a standalone bet and just put a one pick on Bilal by TKO or KO, because the one time I didn't think he had a chance, it was the Sean Brady fight. I was like, bro, he ain't gonna do nothing to Brady. And he TKO'd him. It was kind of a weak TKO, but he fucking did it. I'm pulling it up. I'll see what it's on my end as well, because I know you use
DK,
the DraftKings where I'm on the FanDuel.
They probably won't even have it out yet. I guess it's a little early.
No, they should.
I mean, they have the fight line odds, but not like by finish or anything specific. At least on DraftKings.
Yeah, mine. Okay, Bilal by TKO is plus 650.
I bet it is. Surprised it's not 1250.
I bet it is. Oh man, that's funny. No, and I don't know. I'm if I'm being honest, I'm Team Bilal on this one though. I want him to shock the world. I want to see him beat Leon. I'm not a big fan of Leon. I think that he's good, but I think he's overrated. I don't think he's the best welterweight in the world right now. I think he got lucky against Usman with that 5th round head kick. He squeaked by the second time. If you rewatch their rematch, or their third fight, I should say, the rematch of the title fight, he outpointed him, but barely.
Yeah.
Barely. And I actually remember the first time that I watched it, I thought Usman had done enough. Really quick here, let me speak on, because it was a couple podcasts ago when we were covering the not Abu Dhabi, but the Saudi Arabia card, the Whitaker card. I labeled that one wrong. I said Whitaker Imavov, and it was Whitaker Aliskerov. So
shit.
yeah,
but it was originally Imavov, wasn't it? Didn't
yes,
they like switch
it
some
was,
shit around?
It was supposed to be, and then Imavov fought somebody else, or I don't remember how it broke down again, but yeah, I should have known though when I was setting it up. I knew it was Aliskerov, but still put Imavov. So my bad. Don't come for me. I'm not Islamophobic. I just made a mistake, and I'm correcting it now, and I will own it. But taking a quick look at some of these fights here for next weekend.
The main card's fucking stacked.
It really fucking is. It really is. Man. And some of these odds are decent. You see the odds though of the money line for Aspinall and Blades?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous, man.
I feel like it's, I don't know. Blades hasn't really been doing too hot lately, but
he TKO'd Jalton Almeida.
Yeah.
The hype train that wasn't nobody trying to see. Rocked him and fucked him up.
Yeah.
I think this fight's. I don't see Tom being a minus 430 favorite. He's probably gonna win, but I think it's gonna be closer than people expect.
Yeah, he's 380 on the where I'm looking.
Okay.
Still though, that's still quite a bit.
Yeah, no, that's a heavy favorite. Anything over basically minus anything more than minus 250 is a heavy favorite. You probably got a safe bet in picking them. They're showing Bobby Green and Patty the Batty at basically a pick 'em. Bobby Green is minus 122 to minus 104 for Patty. And I
That's
think one
fair.
of the reasons that the odds are skewed like that is everybody's putting their money on Patty. I think this is going to be light work for Bobby.
On DraftKings, you can see what percentage of the bets were placed on a certain fighter. Let me see how that checks out. You're probably right though.
I
Bobby's also old as shit though.
no, and I get that, man, but what the fuck has Patty done?
No, you're right. Not shit.
He barely made it past a fading Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, 69% of the bets so far have come in on Patty.
Yeah, no.
Oh shit. Yeah, on DraftKings it's yeah. Okay.
What are the odds on DraftKings for it then?
Patty minus 105, Bobby minus 115. But on UFC, Patty is plus 114 and Bobby's minus 130.
No, exactly. So that it just is because of how much money is coming in on Patty.
Yeah.
I'd say one of the fights that I'm kind of really looking most forward to this upcoming weekend that not a lot of people. I don't even know if this is on the main card, but Muhammad Makayev versus Manel Kopp. That should be an interesting fight, man.
As long as Cop loses, I don't care. Fuck that guy. He's so annoying. He's so fucking annoying, dude.
Well, no, I just thought it was funny. He was yapping at Izzy that one day, and this dude's like a $135 talking to an 85er like he's gonna do anything.
Yeah, he's silly.
Man. So what are you thinking for parlay?
You know, I was looking and it's actually kind of tough, but I think I got see, I don't know if I should bet to win or I should bet to
Can I just say that Aspinall's off the table?
That's fair. I'm probably gonna bet on a prelim fight because I know one of these. I'm not betting for a fighter to win. I'm betting for a fighter to lose because I know Shauna Bannon cannot fight worth a shit.
Where's that?
She's the second fight on the card. I watched her fight in NVIDIA, and then I saw her UFC debut, and I just don't think she's got what it takes. I think she's hot and she's got a big mouth and she's sellable, but she can't fight.
Don't even know if I'm showing this on the card yet. This did this to me a couple weeks ago where I couldn't find Aliskerov anywhere until like the day of. They finally fucking put the fucking.
It's like it's in the early prelims. Did you go all the way down?
I'm looking, but it's also on here. It's showing me. It's also showing me the August 3rd card. So hold on. Because yeah, I've got. That's not next weekend. Oh, okay, I see what I was looking at it wrong. Yeah, I'm showing the main event. I'm got Bobby Green, Patty, Aspinall, and Blades, Arnold Allen versus Giga Chikadze, Makayev and Kopp, Patterson and Crosby, Nathaniel Wood and Daniel Pineda, Molly McCann and Bruno Brazil, Mick Parkin and Lukas Brzezinski, Oban Elliott, Preston
It's on
Parsons.
Sherdog?
No, I'm looking at the odds on FanDuel.
Oh, gotcha.
Hold on, I'm gonna go over.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pick Ravina Oliveira.
Oh, to beat Shauna Bannon.
Yeah, because Shauna, I have not been impressed by any of her performances.
I can agree with that though. I can definitely agree with that. I've seen a couple of her fights, and again, I think she's one of them that is getting pushed because she's got the looks and she can talk.
She's got a fucking heavy Irish accent too, so she's kind of fun to listen to.
Yep. Man. Fuck it. Give me Muhammad Makayev.
All right. All right. Why is Aspinall off the table? Is you think the Red's gonna pick him?
It's fucking minus 430. I just feel like that's such a fucking gimme fucking fight. And I watch.
Okay.
I ain't even gonna say anything, and that's gonna be Mr. Breddington's pick in the group chat. He's like, give me Tom.
Or Curtis is gonna fucking win.
Bro, and that's really I sound like a hater in saying this, and I'll own it, but I want Blades to fuck him up just so all the fucking fanboys shut the fuck up about, oh, Tom would beat John Jones. It wouldn't even be a fucking blah. Like, don't get me wrong. Aspinall probably got a good chance of giving John a run for his money. But y'all fucking forget that, like him or not, John Jones is the most accomplished fucking athlete in the sport.
I'm on the podcast. You have to stop throwing all your bottles away, and then you would have some.
Grandma threw one.
Oh, well, tell her to stop doing that.
Who's throwing whose balls?
He said do you have any water ball? He likes to like refill water bottles and then put those little drink mixes in them and shake them up. But his bottles keep getting thrown away, so he doesn't have anything to put his drink mix in.
Gotcha. And he's upset.
I mean, very minorly. He's just a little butthurt. Do we have any water bottles? No, bro. I haven't bought water in a long time.
Oh, that's the way to do it usually, though. I fucking, especially living in a smaller town, you don't ever trust the tap water, or at least get it filtered through the fridge, right?
Yeah, I used to use a filter pitcher, but then I knocked it off the counter and broke it.
Damn. But yeah, no, motherfuckers be hating on Jones just because they don't like him personally or outside of the ring, and they forget that this is one of the most accomplished fighters the UFC has ever seen. This guy has not lost a fight, and go ahead and bring up Gustafsson one or the Dominic Reyes fight, but go look at the chart, man. Motherfucker has not lost and has been one of the most dominant champions to ever do the damn thing. And don't get me wrong, it's not going to last forever. Every dog has their day. But I think that the dick riding of Aspinall is crazy out of control. Motherfuckers think that this dude is somebody, and he might be, but he ain't fought anywhere near the elite kind of fighters that Jones was chewing up. I'm talking like Shogun Hua, Rampage Jackson, Lyoto Machida. Really what put John Jones on the radar for me originally is I was a big Brandon the Truth Vera fan when Vera was on record talking about this is before the UFC ever had a 2-division champ. He said that Vera was like, no, I'm going to come in. I'm going to be the lightweight and the heavyweight champion. I'm going to be the first 2-division champ in UFC history. And then he ran into John Jones. And Jones, it was a competitive first round, but it didn't make it past that. Jones got him down and then smacked him with a fucking elbow to the dome. I'm pretty sure he broke his orbital. And that's really as mad as I was that Vera lost that fight. It made me a fan of Jones. It's like, okay, this dude is legit. He's not just talking. And I think within a fight or two of that fight, he stepped in short notice against Shogun and became the youngest ever UFC champion. So I'm gonna give Jones his flowers. You know what he has done in his personal life hasn't always made the right choices. A lot of us have not always made the right choices. So who the fuck am I to say anything about another man's shortcomings?
The people who don't like Jones probably like Connor, and they're both fucking douchebags, and they're just being hypocritical.
Exactly. But yeah, I think on that note, we kind of covered it. With this being a pay-per-view, though, this upcoming Saturday, we will be back at you Sunday with the recap. We'll kind of look ahead over the next few weeks, figure out when the next pay-per-view is. We'll talk about any fights we need to in the meantime. But if you haven't, go like and subscribe on YouTube. You can follow us on Twitch. I still need to get my lazy ass to get signed back up for another Facebook page because we got zucked for some reason. This has been months, but I'm still trying to figure out why the fuck they even took our page down. and also why I didn't get kind of any kind of email confirmation that they were taking our page down. They just fucking did it. There's no way to recover it.
Yeah, that's crazy. Not even a notification. We were just like, where'd our page go?
Yeah, like all of a sudden I go to click on it. I go into the Facebook app on my phone and I go to my pages and it's not even an option. Like that's
Same.
bogus shit. And Zuckerberg, I thought you were a UFC fan, so why you doing us so bogus over here?
Zuck, I challenge you to a grappling match, you motherfucker.
I want to see this, man. I want to see that.
They'd probably make me sign a piece of paper that said if I like did anything but grappling, they're gonna sue my ass.
Or something.
So I'll cut his ass open.
Yeah, hey, just don't pull the ears too hard because that's where the wiring is at, and you really figure out that he's a bot.
He's probably got cyborg strength, and you just fucking use his robot arms to pin my ass down and choke me out in like 10 seconds. He's got like Terminator strength.
Right. But yeah, on that note, thanks for anybody that tuned in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, smash some buttons. We will be back though next Sunday. Paul, thank you so much for joining me this evening, even though you ain't been watching shit. So
hey,
get on it.
Financial hardships are almost coming to an end, and then I'll be back on lock.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. Well, y'all have a good night out there. We'll see you next weekend. And as always, this has been It's Almost Time.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.